All right, thank you for staying with us. Our second guest is still here, and we're still talking about change management, Mr. Isiche Osambi. Osambi. All right, could you provide, we were just talking about the family setting, where everybody, well, where the head of the family says breakfast is better now for everyone at 7 o'clock, and you were just about that. Could you take the next minute, just 1 minute to round up that? Yeah.
Like I did say earlier, when you talking about change, you're trying to bring about change, you must set your goals, you know, let it be specific, is it attainable, as if it's achievable. And with those objectives well cut out, you must bring the people who are part of that change together. You must have their buy-in, which where emotional intelligence come in. Don't just say you want to bring about change and it's all about you. And if you don't put that together, you won't achieve your objective.
So you must consider everybody else involved.
Yes.
Wow.
So like we said earlier, it's a collective. Change is a conscious thing, is an intentional thing if you want to bring about success in what you want to achieve in your objective.
Wow. Change is a constant if you want to bring about success.
And a collective thing.
Yes. So now, as a management expert yourself, let's even step a little bit out of the family setting.
Yeah.
How have you seen, do you have any examples of how prominent management setups have achieved anything? Change?
Yeah, I've been part of one, and or several. I said, let me say I can remember one now that will play out. I'll take you back again to the domestic. Let me close it. So when you use that to set out your objective and you have put out your time and all that, you now measure the results, and there you are. But most importantly, look at our own lives as individuals. Every day you come out, New Year resolution, birthday resolution. I want to do this before. I mean, in 1-2 months it works. Before the year even go, it's all of it. Because you did not consciously set out to do it. So at management level, every organization must set up a proper structure to bring about change. So if it works well in the private sector. In the public sector, you say, oh, committee or that. No. In the private sector, people sit down, draw out a timetable, draw out a campaign, and there are organizations, you know, whose duty it is to bring about change, to help you bring about change. So there must be a vehicle to carry that change to happen. And part of that vehicle, apart from the human beings and all that, will include the plan that our intention is to wear a new face, is to get better, and you set out those goals as a management team. And if it is rebranding, you want to rebrand, you can rebrand in many ways. You could do this and do that. I used to work in a company where if you step out, they say, it will do something, and they say, somebody did it. I say, no, that person can be from our company. Because you have values. You have set out what it is for you. So you must look at your values. So at management level, you now agree that, let's assume production. We want to ramp up production. And part of the production is also a change. And part of the production is that shift, work time will change. You put it there. And if we must ramp up production, like I said, you must put out the time you want to bring about the change. You want to ramp up production, you can't say it must happen tomorrow. Do we achieve it in 6 months, 1 year, or 2 years? Then you must measure. Then again, I come back to the emotional intelligence. You now rally around and put your staff together and ask them, I need you to do this X, Y, Z, and these are the inputs I expect. Tools I'm bringing. So you must look at all the ingredients, basic things that are needed to achieve that result. So when you come together, the emotional intelligence is key. You now have a get-together with the staff. Have a buy-in. If they don't own it, you can't have the change. Yes. So if you don't step out of yourself to go and look at how others feel to bring about that change, you are alone.
Okay.
Yeah. So you must win the staff over. That's why it's critical and important that when you are rebranding or begin to do things differently, your first stakeholder to rebrand or turn around is yourself and the internal stakeholders. Yeah. So until you set that goal and win those, stakeholders over, it is difficult to achieve.
Okay. Yeah. As you speak on, I'm looking at life in totality. Change is constant. Change is good. But change, a lot of people kick against change.
Correct.
Because it's not a place where you're familiar with where you are, where you are envisaging or you're prospecting to get to.
Correct.
So a lot of people fight with it. To such people, what are the advantages? The where, the when, the how. And how can you get people with that mindset, to embrace change? I'm talking about people in government, people in private sectors, in organizations, and the family setting.
Good. Very good. You experience such pushbacks more in government, and it's interesting. I like the way, Helen, I like the way you and John handle this program. You look at the other person, not just the speaker. And that's the interesting thing about it all, in the sense that, look, the buy-in, like I mentioned, from the stakeholders, particularly internal, becomes critical. If you get them, if you win them over, the pushback will be less. So I give you a good example. Like you mentioned, like we mentioned earlier, you want to bring about change in ramping up production, and you want staff to start work at 7 a.m. in Lagos. It's going to be challenging. So you hear from them. Hi. Somebody is coming from Ajangbadi. Somebody is coming from Ekpe, Ikorodu. Can we all achieve it? So why don't you just agree with them when you discuss with them? Definitely, if you listen to them, they will tell you, they would really like to resume work at 8. That's when they are sure they will meet up. But if you are doing it maybe in one, not just a remote area, in a village, let me not mention towns there, you can tell them 7 a.m. because they just throw to work in 5 minutes, they are in the office. So you must have the buy-in of the stakeholders, particularly the internal. So you start that campaign, and whether it is at home or anything, don't think about yourself alone. Oh, how do I need to convince them? No. Listen to them. Emotional intelligence these days is key. Yeah, it's not just the technology, because man must really operate the machines. You must make the technology work. So to avoid pushbacks, let them own the change. You can even do carrot and stick. It shouldn't be just, you come late to work. No, the first person at work can get this price. It looks simple. It looks as simple as price for coming to work early. That's it. You're encouraging others. Now you're even calling them out to say, this month, 2-3 people, yes, came out.
Recognitions and awards.
Correct. So it helps. So there must be a stake for everybody. When everybody is involved, then there will be less pushback. In that case, everybody will be speaking the positive for you at different places. They will be your mouthpiece in bringing about the change you want.
I'm beginning to look at you as Picasso. and maybe really to round off, because I'm told we have just a couple of minutes. What will be your last words, to our viewers, about this thing called change? What would be your take home?
Thank you. It's quite unfortunate we really don't have time again. Change is so broad. You could speak from now to tomorrow and you haven't dealt with all aspects of change. But for me, for our viewers, I would just say, look, the sky is your limit any day. If you ever decide to say that change, I want to get to that goal, you must know that you must consciously plan to bring about that goal, to get to that result. You must sit down, set your goals, set your targets, set your plan, and walk towards it. So some of us who believe better in those, one of the adage you usually have, God help those who help themselves. You have to first help yourself, not before you can. I mean, God will come down to help you. You must, like we say in our local parlance, a child must first stretch his hand before you'll be lifted. Yeah. So you must set your plan, achieve your set targets. And with that, you keep getting results. So change is a constant thing. Just know that you can keep improving and getting better in whatever you do if you set out to do it that way properly.
Brilliant.
Some. Very, very brilliant. You know, these days, families are having issues with children changing. That's another area that because it's a family show. The changes in our children, you know, how do we deal with them? And that says you need to find time to come back.
Probably.
So we take it home.
Yes.
Okay?
Exactly.
Yeah, John?
Exactly.
Do I have a yes from you?
Oh, of course, yes.
Okay. Very fresh insights there. We need to be reminded of these salient truths, you know, on a regular basis, especially for advancement of society and the family. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, for me, it's so good having Picasso himself in the studio. So that was Change Management Conversation with practical to-do guides and tips for all of us from Isichei Osambi. We owe you a lot of gratitude for making our time to be with us. So thanks so much for coming.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, that was change management, and we move on. We told you that we were turning on the heat this week. Another break beckons. When we return, it will be face-to-face with a young man who has for many years stood in the gap between government and the ordinary people. How, why, and where, you may ask? Deji Akinpelu, the co-founder of Rethinking Cities Initiatives, is our last guest today. You know, the Benue in me keeps coming out. All right. So make sure you do not change the channel, because we have information capable of changing your life totally when we do come back. Join us again.